Hello everyone. Episode 17, day 9 of most expected topics for prelims 2020. Today I am going to discuss topics from 81 onwards. 70th Constitution Day. On 26th November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India adopted the Constitution of India and it came into force on 26th January 1950. That we know that. So it got adopted on 26th November and it came into force from 26th January 1950. So why it is the issue? Because now Jammu and Kashmir is going to celebrate for the first time the constitutional day since the abrogation of Article 370. Why? Because we know that abrogation of Article 370 happened on August 5th, very recently. So after that, this is the first day which we are experiencing the constitutional day in Jammu and Kashmir. To publicize the glorious 5th August 2019, so this would be the first constitutional day for Jammu and Kashmir. To publicize glorious and rich composite culture and diversity of our nation, to create awareness of fundamental duties as enshrined in the Indian Constitution, to reiterate and reorient the citizens towards the values and principles expressed in the Indian Constitution, to encourage all Indians to play their rightful role in strengthening of Indian democracy. So for that particular purpose, we need to celebrate the Constitutional Day every year, so that the Constitution we will be following not just in letter, we will also following it in letter and spirit. And in our children, in the upcoming generations, we need to promote the sacredness of Constitution. Why? Because everything is imbibed in the Constitution. No other rule book is necessary apart from Constitution of India. That properly the Constitution of India has been designed by our forefathers. The 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Sri Guru Nanak Dev. Yes, prelims point of view important. Why? Because that is the 550th birth anniversary celebration. Recently, the Prime Minister of India participated in a special event organized at Dera Baba Nanak to inaugurate the integrated checkpost and the Kartarpur corridor. He also released the commemorative coin celebrating the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He is one of the early teachers of the Sikh. Guru Nanak Dev Jayanti is observed to celebrate the birth of Guru Nanak Dev, who is the first of the 10 Sikh Gurus. So first of the 10 Sikh Gurus and the founder of Sikhism. He is the founder of the Sikhism. He advocated the Nirguna, that means devotion without any form, towards any form. Devotion to and worship of formless divine is called as Nirguna. So the Nirguna is given by whom? Guru Nanak Dev, prelims point of view. He rejected sacrifices, ritual baths, image worship, austerities, and scriptures of both Hindus and Muslims. He organized his followers into a community. He set up rules for congregational worship, Sangat, involving collective recitations. So he is the first among the 10 Sikh Gurus who gave the concept called as Nirguna, worship the formless divine. No more sacrifices, no more ritual baths, no more image worships, no more austerities. So he is a person who brought reforms into the community. The fifth preceptor, Guru Arjan Dev, compiled Guru Nanak Dev's hymns along those of his 4 successors and other religious poets like Baba Farid Ravidas, Kabir in the Adi Granth Sahib. These hymns called Gurubani are composed in many languages. This is very important. These hymns called as Gurubani. The hymns of whom? The hymns of Guru Nanak Dev, which is compiled by whom? Guru Arjan Dev. Very, very important. In the late 17th century, the 10th preceptor, Guru Gobind Singh, included the compositions of the 9th Guru, Guru Tej Bahadur, and his scriptures was also called as Guru Granth Sahib, which was been included into it. So, these particular names are very, very important culture point of view in your prelims examination. Paryatan Parv. The Ministry of Tourism inaugurated the nationwide Paryatan Parv 2019 to mark the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. It will be held across the country from 2nd to 13th October 2019. So, it is by the Ministry of Tourism mainly to remember the Mahatma Gandhi on his birth anniversary, mainly to promote tourism in India. The Paryatan Parv is mainly focusing on tourism in India. So, it tells that you can go for the foreign tourism. First, you complete the domestic tourism. That is the major motto of Paryatan Parv. The underlying idea behind Paryatan Parv is to propagate the message of Dekho Apna Desh. That means see first our own country first. with the objective to encourage Indians to visit various tourist destinations of the country, focusing on the benefits of tourism and showcasing the cultural diversity of the country. It also aims to spread the message of tourism for all. The tourism minister highlighted that sustained efforts to promote tourism has helped to improve our world tourism ranking, which has jumped from 65th rank in 2013 to 34th position in 2019. This is a very good sign that tourism is increasing in our country. The ranking, who is going to publish this ranking? Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report 2019 had published this report and told that India's rank is 34th in 2019. So, the double the number of tourists will be achieved much before the set target of 2022. Three components of Paryatan Parv is Dekho Apna Desh, Tourism for All, Tourism and Governance. These are the three components which is present in this Paryatan Parv. So, according to him, means here the Ministry of Tourism, the aim to double the number of tourists will be achieved much before the set target of 2022. To encourage Indians to travel their own country in the run-up to the Parv, several activities are organized across the country like photography contest, promotion on social media, tourism-related quiz, essay, general public engagement for the event is promoted through MyGov platform. Tourism events at sites across all states in the country are being organized. The activities at these sites will include illumination in and around the sites, cultural programs of dance, music, theatre, etc. Tourism and governance. Interactive sessions and workshops will help concerned stakeholders on varied themes have been organized across the country as a part of Paryatan Parv activities. So these are the three components which are present in this Paryatan Parv. Number one, Dekho Apna Desh, Tourism for All, Tourism and Governance. Governance through cultural gathering. So there is a need for governance through cultural gatherings. So major motto is governance. Politically the major motto is governance. Economically the major motto is growth of the economy. The motto of cultural point of view is togetherness, unity in diversity. Similarly here, how we are going to promote governance through cultural gathering. The scheme name is called as, or the campaign name is called as Saras Ajivika Mela. It is a program to transform rural India in general and the lives of rural women in particular, mainly targeting rural India, particularly rural women transformation. It is an initiative by the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission. It's an initiative of NRLM, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana under NRLM from the Ministry of Rural Development, with an objective to bring the rural women self-help groups under one platform so that they can showcase their skills, sell their products and help them build linkages with bulk buyers. Mainly the self-employment which is created under self-help groups, now they will be having the business. Now they will be having the buyers. For the buyers and the sellers for self-help groups, a platform will be made under this particular scheme called as, or under this particular campaign called as Saras Ajivika Mela under Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission of Ministry of Rural Development. It means a platform for the self-help groups in order to sell their goods which is made in that particular self-help groups. Through participation in Saras Ajivika Mela, this rural self-help group women will get vital national level exposure to understand the demand and taste of urban customers. Why? Because the urban customers are the major market who can buy the self-help group's products, so they will understand the pulse of the urban customers by organizing such Saras Ajivika Mela campaigns. Varied range of products like handicrafts, handlooms and natural food products will be displayed. The Mela acts as an integrated approach towards women empowerment. So women will be getting the money. Why? Because she is going economically. All her goods which is produced from self-help groups, now she will be getting a platform in order to sell her goods and also to understand the pulse of the urban customers. Rashtriya Sanskrit Mahotsav. The Ministry of Culture is organizing the 10th edition of Rashtriya Sanskrit Mahotsav under the Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat initiative in Madhya Pradesh from 2019. The idea is to organize such Mahotsav was conceived in the year 2015 by the Ministry of Culture with an intention to exhibit the rich cultural heritage of the country in all its rich and varied dimensions, namely handicraft, cuisine, painting, sculpture and performing arts, folk tribal, classical and contemporary all at once. The Rashtriya Sanskrit Mahotsav will reconnect the people, especially the youth, with their indigenous cultures, its multifaceted nature, magnificence and historical importance in the context of India as a nation over the millennia. So mainly this Rashtriya Sanskrit Mahotsav will be focusing on the youth in order to showcase their cultural varieties, their cultural uniques and come onto a single platform to telecast that we all are one people, we all belongs to one nation called as India in a cultural way, that is Rashtriya Sanskrit Mahotsav. Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat. It was launched in 2015 to promote engagement amongst the people to different states, union territories so as to enhance mutual understanding and bonding between people of diverse cultures, thereby securing stronger unity and integrity of India. It is an initiative of the Ministry of HRD. So, one nation. That is a major motto of this Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. People of diverse cultures coming together to showcase the unity and strength of the India. So, Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat will be working under the Ministry of HRD. Mainly it is engagement with other people, with other state people, with other union territory people, with other culture people, with tribal people, with rural people, with urban people, all people coming together and feeling a unity. The broad objectives of the initiatives are as follows: to celebrate the unity and diversity of our nation and to maintain and strengthen the fabric of traditionally existing emotional bonds between the people. That is what important. Yes. To promote the spirit of national integration, we are one. There should not be any thought for secessionism. There should be only one thought of integration, one nation, one country, one India. Through a deep and structured engagement between all Indian states and union territories, through a year-long planned engagement between states, to showcase the rich heritage and culture, customs and traditions to different states for enabling people to understand and appreciate the diversity that is India, thus fostering a sense of common identity. To establish long-term engagements and to create an environment which promotes learning between states by sharing best practices and experiences. So, it's mainly to showcase that we are one nation. Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. Rural sanitation strategy. Goal wash. What is this? Recently, the Department of Drinking Water Sanitation under the Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched the 10-year rural sanitation strategy starting from 2019 up to 2029. Why? Because 2024 elections will be there and 2029 again elections will be there. 2024 elections will be there and 2029 again elections will be there. So, by that time they want to reach the targets. What are the targets? The strategy has been prepared by the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation in consultation with state governments and other stakeholders. It lays down a framework to guide local governments, policymakers, implementers and other relevant stakeholders in their planning for open defecation free plus status, where everyone uses a toilet and every village has access to solid and liquid waste management. The strategy aims to sustain the behavioral change because people are constructing the toilets but they are not using it. There is a need for behavioral change regarding sanitation that has been achieved under the Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin and ensures that the focus is shifted to increasing access to solid and liquid waste management in the rural areas of the country. The 10-year strategy also demands focused intervention through capacity strengthening by using information, communication and education. IEC, information, education and communication. We are going to promote this 10-year strategy mainly focusing on open defecation free plus, open defecation free plus. What is that? Public financing has played an important role in open defecation free journey. But for the maintenance of toilets and infrastructure, the need is there for innovative models for sanitation financing. So, there is a need for public financing for the sake of sanitation. So, there are three varieties of status are there: open defecation free, ODF, ODF plus, ODF plus. What is the difference between it? Very important for your prelims. What is ODF? What is ODF plus? What is ODF plus? Prelims point of view, it is very, very important. I will be explaining now what is ODF and what is ODF plus and what is ODF plus. An area can be notified or declared as open defecation free if at any point of time not even a single person is found defecating in the open. At any point of time, not a single person is found open defecating. That particular place will be called as open defecation free. What is open defecation free plus? The status is given if at any point of time not a single person is found defecating and or urinating in the open, and all community and public toilets are functional and well maintained. Functional and well maintained. It should be functional and well maintained as well. So, it's not only about the open defecation, the toilet should be well maintained and functional. No one should be found open defecating either urinals or else open defecation. Both should not be there. Open defecation plus. Two things. No one should found is open defecation, defecating in the open, ODF plus, open. There should not be any open defecating urinals also. ODF plus, as well as proper maintenance of public toilets, and it should be functional and well maintained. Open defecation free plus plus. The status is given if the area is already ODF plus and fecal sludge, septage and sewage are safely managed and treated. That means there should be proper sewage treatment, septage treatment, fecal sludge treatment, with no discharging or dumping of untreated fecal sludge and sewage into the open drains, water bodies or areas. That particular area will be called as ODF plus. This difference is very, very important for prelims. What is ODF, what is ODF plus, what is ODF plus plus, which is being determined under Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation of Ministry of Jal Shakti. Thank you everyone. Again I will be coming up with the topics from next 5 topics till 90 topics. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.